Hey everybody, we are here with the man, Dave Mason from BetOnline.AG. Dave, how are you doing, my friend?
Not bad. Survived another weekend, so bring on week 8.
Yeah, I've had finally, I've had a couple of weeks in a row where I've been able to beat, and I've been able to take some of BetOnline's money. They got the better of
Good.
me for most of the first part of the season, but I think I'm back above the pay line, which is nice.
Attaboy.
Yeah, but I tell you what, this week I've been looking at the freaking lines. I don't see a lot of value here, man. I can't find a lot. There's 3 games I like, so I wanted to pick your brain on them, see where the early money's going.
Sure.
But holy moly, this is the first week, and I had some bad weeks where I felt really good about the picks. You know how those go. But this is the first week
All
where
right.
I literally I have no idea what I'm gonna do, and I'm in some contests. Actually, let me ask you about that. Do you have any live contests right now at BetOnline in terms of NFL? Like anything that I or any of the listeners can get in on at the moment?
Well, to get on, I mean, we have the $100,000 survivor pool, but of course you had to get into that
Right.
early in the season, week 1, and we also had the $250,000 mega contest, which is a pick'em contest. Of course, those are already running, so if you're not in on that, tune in next year.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
right now we have a $100,000 perfect parlay every week, which is kind of you pick the 16 games that we have on the board. And if there's not enough games, we just use totals and if you get them all right, $100,000 in cash, no rollovers or nothing.
Well,
So that's one of them. A little, needle in the haystack kind of thing. But hey,
I
no one's gonna
don't.
hit it. We had a couple guys that go 15-1.
Ugh.
Well, not this past week, but the week before and the week before that. So guys are flirting with it, but
Yeah.
it'll pop. Season's over, so 100 grand. Someone will win 100 grand.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, so like the last 3 weeks, I think I've been 4 or less in terms of losses, but I haven't sniffed a perfect week. I don't think I ever have in my life, but
Uh,
I mean, obviously, if you sniff it, you should at least play the $5 thing and win the $1,000, right, or whatever the payout is on that. I don't even know what the parlay is, but I'm never, for me, it's almost like playing a lottery. It's like I don't even waste the money on
all
on it.
right.
But
Well,
I'll
this
get
is
in on.
free.
Is there?
This is a free contest.
Oh,
You
there
just
you
enter
go.
as long as you're betting with us. I mean, as long as
Yep.
you betting with us on your regular stuff and giving us regular action. I mean, this is a free shot at 100 grand.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I am there, and I'll sign up. I encourage everybody else to sign up as well if you haven't yet. BetOnline.ag, they're awesome. I've been talking to Dave now for. If you're new to the show, I've been talking to Dave over a year at this point because I think we were probably introduced to each other in preparation for last season. So we've been doing some
all
good
right,
stuff. And what I like to do, again, if you're new to the show, if you're a regular listener, you know the drill. But what I like to do is, depending on kind of what's going on during the week, just talk to Dave a little bit. Sometimes we talk futures, sometimes we talk weekend lines, and I do want to talk about some of the games. And by all means, feel free to bring something up if you see something that looks interesting. But I wanted to talk. Let me just start with Chicago and the Chargers. So it's the Chargers. What is the line? I have written +4. Let me see
fine.
if it.
Yeah, plus they're getting 4
Yeah.
currently.
Okay, so Chargers getting 4 going to Chicago. I'm actually on the Chargers there. I feel like Chicago all season's been a little bit overrated in the betting community. I've actually been able to sneak by. I've done pretty well in Chicago, and maybe it's because I'm in Chicagoland, so I see a lot of their games. But early money, how are things looking there, and how do you feel about Chicago in terms of, I guess, from BetOnline's point of view? Are they starting to come back to earth a little bit? After Mitch Trubisky's kind of the egg that he
Yeah.
laid.
Right. I mean, that's the a lot of people are high on them going into the season. They had a great year last year, and Trubisky looks like he was a good young quarterback, up and coming quarterback, and a lot of people were he was a real popular bet over the off season to win MVP.
Oh my
There's all
gosh.
that. There's so much. There's so many people talking about that, and I was like, I guess I don't know. I don't really think he looks like a solid quarterback, but people were taking him at long odds, and
Ay, ay, ay.
people are all over Twitter talking about it. So, I guess that's kind of money down the toilet. But -4. They're giving 4 to the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, the Bears are a big disappointment. There's no other way. And Trubisky's a huge, massive disappointment. But, they're playing another disappointment, the
Yes.
Chargers, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. This is the Super Bowl of disappointing teams this year, I think. 62% of the early bettors are on the Chargers. What does that tell you? I don't know. I mean, there's
Yeah.
still so much more action to come in. It's just this is one of those games. I think it's just people aren't betting on a team; they're just fading the other team. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
sure,
It's
sure.
like there's you always see games like that, and And I think this is just one of those games people are just betting against Trubisky. I mean, and it's hard to blame people for that. So we'll see that. Yeah, it's an interesting matchup though. It's just if either of these teams live up to half of their potential, that their expectation in this game, they should win. We're going away.
Yeah,
but
I know, right?
We'll see.
Yeah, I guess for me it comes down to, I prefer Rivers over Trubisky.
Yep.
I mean, and I do think for Chicago, I really like their coaching staff, and their defense obviously is great. But Dave, I'm doing these YouTube things. I'm getting a lot of engagement from fans of the Bears, really, and it's usually fans from the teams. When I only get engagement when I criticize somebody, and people get pissed off about it. But I get a lot of people are just like, what about the Bears defense, blah blah blah. And I was joking with Brad, my co-host to get paid. I was joking with him over the weekend. I said, every Chicago fan that I ever talked to, and again, I do live in the Chicago suburbs. Everybody I talk to, they keep talking about the defense, and they are a really good defense. But it's like all the fans expect them to win like 3-0 or 6-3 or something like that. And like every week, you can't do that every week, man. There's sometimes you just face a good offense, and
Yep.
And you give up 20 points. Well, your offense should be able to cover 20 points.
Sure.
And I just don't see it from Chicago this year, unfortunately. I think they got to make a change at quarterback, but I mean, who the hell am I, right? Next game I wanted to talk about was Seattle minus 3.5. You're one of the sports books that have the balls to put out the line while Matt Ryan's status is still up in the air. But Seattle minus 3.5 is the line that I have at Atlanta. Early action, what's going on there?
Early action. Let me check on that one. Seattle minus 3.5. Yeah. What do we got here? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
That one I didn't have it written down right there. Yeah, I mean the early action's on Seattle. It looks like. Yeah, absolutely. I mean we had to take it. We actually just closed it again. It was open, then we closed it. That's why I didn't pop that. So,
damn it! Because I didn't get a chance to bet it yet.
Yeah, it spoke prematurely there, and 80% of the early action was on Seattle. So,
yeah, I was gonna ask. I'm surprised that any action at all was on Atlanta, especially with Matt Ryan's status up in the air. But
yeah.
I was heavy on that. Seriously, I'm surprised it was only 80%. I was just gonna ask you if it was like 95, but yeah, Brad and I love that game. That was one of the 3 games that we agreed on. And let me just say that Chargers game we were just talking about. I don't love the Chargers in that game. It's just one that he and I agreed on. So. Right. Yeah, it's a tough one. The last one that I have is actually a game that I'm really interested to watch, but I do think it's just going to be a bloodshed game. Cleveland plus 13, is that right? Sorry, I'm looking again now too. Yeah, plus 13 at New England. Where's the action going in on that one so far? I'm guessing it's got to be heavily towards New England at this point.
Yeah, it's New England. It's definitely New England. It's not one of the heavier games in the schedule, but what is it? About 63% of the early bettors are on New England playing 13. So, they just keep covering. Holy hell!
I know.
That Jets game. It's just I keep telling myself just bet these guys blindly every week.
I know.
And I don't. I mean, I'm an idiot. It's just it's how much money I could be up the last few years. I just keep telling myself just bet these guys blindly.
Yeah,
and I
bet them blindly, and then like just look at it like it's like the stock market or the 401k or something. It's going to go up some weeks, it's going to go down some weeks, but over time it just goes up, right? So
absolutely. At the end of the season, you have a nice party. You're going to be up, and
I know. And one of the things, so I was arguing with my buddy. How was the line last week? Did you get that? I mean, was it more towards New England? Did you have exposure in New England versus New York?
Yeah, it wasn't a ton though.
Yeah, I figured it wouldn't be.
But it was about 60% of the cash at kickoff was on.
I just cannot believe that. To me, my philosophy, and listeners of the show know this. Like my philosophy is, first of all, I just never bet against Bill Belichick. That's a rule. I don't care who he's playing. I don't care if he's playing Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes is totally healthy. I don't care. I don't bet against Bill Belichick. Period. And that line was, I think it might have even been bet down to 9.5. Because I got in on that one. It was hovering around 10. I think it got. I can't remember. And I just remember thinking, I don't love this, but New England played on Thursday night the week before. Bill Belichick, I forgot what it is. He's like 85 or 90% or something like that when he has extra time, like more time than the opposing coach to prepare for a game. I was like, I'm not betting on, as I said last week, I'm not betting on New England. I'm betting on Bill Belichick. And I thought it was going to be a razor-thin cover, maybe not. I just figured, what the hell? And they just came out and just beat the shit out of the Jets. I mean, after the Jets, laid it down on Dallas the previous week too. And I can't say I'm shocked, but like you said, it's just amazing to me that they just keep covering. It's just incredible. And then they just traded for Mohamed Sanu today, so they shored up some of their wide receiver. But I don't even think they had wide receiver issues. Like, I think the receivers are okay. I'm looking for the weakness in this team. I can't find it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the skeptic in me, you always got to try to. The only thing I can say is their schedule has sucked so far.
Yeah, that is true.
So their schedule is going to get a lot tougher. They play the Browns next week, who has a losing record, but after that, it does get tougher. So that they're not going to roll like they've been rolling. But that being said, they still have to be the best team in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Without a doubt, like the AFC. So and again, that's not me poo-pooing on what they've done. That's
of course.
That's just me. If there is a caveat there is a negative something you have to talk about it. It's their schedule has been brutal.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. It's like the antithesis of Cleveland's schedule to open the year. It's like they're just they're a team of two different stories at this point. So I would expect Cleveland to be a little bit better. And by the way, Tennessee with Tannehill starting, I like a lot more, especially in gambling. I think they're underrated and undervalued right now. But we'll see how that goes. I want to talk about one more game. Actually, I didn't think about this beforehand, but you're a Philadelphia fan, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I wanted to see. Okay, so they're playing Buffalo this week. Interesting matchup. I think, and like I do my analytics, I do all this stuff, but I just have a gut feeling that Philadelphia they have to win this game, and they're playing a tough team. None of my math tells me that Philadelphia has a chance in this game, but I gotta think that their urgency will help them get over the hump. But how do you see this Eagles team, man? Like, what's going on with this team right now?
And I don't know, man. There's a lot missing. Well, first of all, their defensive backs are god awful.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make a play for Jalen Ramsey? I don't know. I don't care if you had to give up 2 first-round picks. You do that when you're that bad and you do have talent to compete and win that NFC East and go farther. So, I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating as all hell. There's such high expectations on them. Just no one is playing up to their expectations, and many are playing below their expectations. I mean, the NFL season's a long. It's you've seen it so many times where a team just looks so ho-hum in the beginning of the season and stay healthy and peak at the end of the season. But that was just brutal the other night. You can tolerate losing at Dallas. It sucks because we hate Dallas so much, but that was an embarrassment. It just was god awful. So that's a positive part of me. It's a long season. Stay healthy, get healthy, and there's enough talent to do something on defense to fix those defensive backs. I don't know what that can be done, but I'm not optimistic, man. They just do not look good. Something's out of whack, I don't know. A lot of people saying it's Doug is an overrated coach too. A lot of that Super Bowl stuff was Frank Reich and
very good. Yeah,
what
that's
he's
a good
doing
point.
now too. What he's doing now. There might be something to that. I'm not a big X's and O's guy, but I never really thought about it too much. But that's just kind of stuff I've been reading from guys I respect.
I tell you what, that Frank Reich is really interesting because people don't. I mean, he's only been a head coach for a season and a half now, so. I mean, rightfully so. People really shouldn't be blowing a lot of smoke up his butt at this point about how great he is. But if you look at his track record as an offensive coordinator, he was an offensive coordinator with some of those really good Chargers teams and Phillip Rivers, obviously the Eagles. Like everywhere he's gone as an offensive coordinator, the team has been really, really good. And that was part of my reason when Andrew Luck retired this year. I said, well, look, Jacoby Brissett, look, he has a year of starting under his belt. It wasn't a good year, but then he had a redshirt year under a head coach that I think is actually pretty damn good. And so I didn't think the Colts would be as bad as people, the sky was falling when Luck retired, and I get it, but I just remember thinking, Brissett might be okay. I didn't really come out and say he was going to be a Pro Bowler at this year, especially last week. I mean, you can make the argument that he could find himself in the Pro Bowl. I mean, they're doing really good stuff. Frank Reich is good, and that's an interesting angle. I hadn't thought about that either with the Eagles. I mean, it doesn't help to lose a coach of that caliber out of your meeting room, right?
All right, absolutely. So. Yeah. We'll see. I'm not optimistic, and I do like the Bills this weekend.
Oh yeah, I mean it's everything.
You're saying their backs up against the wall, but that should be a 3-point spread if you ask me.
Yeah, it's I mean it's hard to argue. Everything is telling me Bills win that game, except for just like my gut, And so in those kinds of games, I just don't bet them. If right. I don't feel good about it because I can stand losing the money. Like losing the money I would have won, but I'll be pissed if I make the bet and I lose the money my gut was telling me. I never bet against my instincts that way. Although I do have a lot of confliction this week, man. These lines really threw me for a loop. It's a tough week for me. Another game, actually, before I let you go, man, if you could look up the Miami and Pittsburgh, I'm curious to see where that money's going because I don't see how Pittsburgh is going to be laying down 14.5 points. I don't get that. I'm on Miami, as crazy as that might sound, and I got to think the betting community is at least on my side on that. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy. I mean, Miami's getting the majority of the bets by far. Actually, 85%. That's the most the second most lopsided bet count on the betting board so far. Actually, third most. Sorry about that.
Who were the other two?
Rams. Okay. LA Rams -13. Indianapolis minus. 87% of the bettors are on LA Rams -13. 86% of the bettors are Indy -6. And then 85% of the bettors are on Miami +14.5. So, see, again, that's, I think, people are just fading the Steelers have been a disappointment with with their third string quarterback in there now or whatever. So,
they're still going 5 wide though. God bless them, right? The Steelers drive me crazy this year. They're not running the ball nearly enough. But what can you do?
No.
All right. Well, man, I think I can let you go. It's actually pretty nice, longer than we usually talk. But this week has thrown me for a loop. I'm looking for some kind of commiseration.
All right.
from the
Keep looking. Book. If you find something, let me know. Hit me on a DM or something, and I'll give you a pick. Give me a winner. I need it.
All right. Sounds good, Dave. As always, right, it's a pleasure, man. I'll catch you next time.
Awesome. Take care.
All right. Peace. Later.
Bye-bye.